रेकार्ड् करोमि। आरम्भं करोतु महोदय। भवान् म्यूट् मध्ये अस्ति महोदय।
सूर्यगौरी समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वतः सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विना विदितमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।
धन्यवादः। अग्रिमकक्षायां का करोति? हीना महोदय भवती करोति वा अग्रिमकक्षायां? प्रार्थना अन्ते अपि द्वयमपि। इदानीम् अहं शेर् स्क्रीन् करोमि। गतकक्षायां वयं संख्यावाचकपदानां पुनरावर्तनं कृतवन्तः। तत्र किमपि क्लेशः अन्य किमपि क्लेशः अस्ति वा? नो चेत् सर्वे अवगतवन्तः वा? सम्यक् रीत्या अवगतवन्तः। उत्तमं। तो इदानीं वदतु।
एक प्रश्न होमवर्क you know on you have given this question in the bracket some numbers. So I don't understand what does it mean.
Okay, so over there you basically have to go and you have to say so first one it says, so share screen.
First one is 77.
This one 77. So it says jale matsyaha taranti. Okay. That sankhya, that is a sankhya shabdah. So it is a visheshanam of the whatever the noun is. So we have to say that in the water there are 77 fish that are swimming.
Okay.
So Idanim, that 77, how do we say it in Sanskrit? How do we put that in, like Sanskritena katham vadamaha tatra when you say 77 katham vadamaha? Saptatihi. सप्त सप्ततिः। इदानीं मत्स्याः तु तत्र विभक्ति का? चतुर्थी विभक्ति वा? मत्स्यः मत्स्यौ मत्स्याः प्रथमा विभक्ति। प्रथमा विभक्ति। तो द संख्या शब्दः अपि प्रथमा विभक्त्याम् एव। तदेव, you just have to fill in the blank saying that number. Just have to make sure that the vibhakti follows the correct vibhakti, and you have to make sure that the anta is it should be ekavachananta if it is more than 20, okay, and it should be strilingam or napumsakalingam if it's 100 or 1000.
All right, okay.
Just the correct declension of the word. That's it. Nothing else.
Oh, okay.
That's all that's required.
Got it. Yeah. Dhanyawad.
Chintamastu. And you also have to tell whether that verb is akarmaka or sakarmaka. Tatra.
Yes, right.
Tadev. Okay. So tadapi vayam kritavantah tatra gata saptahe kutra agachat kshamyatam. So we also did sakarmaka uta akarmaka iti khalu kritavantah arambam kritavantah tatra kutra kshamyatam. Sakarmaka uta akarmaka iti arambam kritavantah. Tu tatra sakarmakah ityukte kim akarmakah ityukte kim kopi vaktum shaknoti va का वदति? राजश्री महोदय भवती वदतु। सकर्मकः इत्युक्ते किं? कथं ज्ञातुं शक्नुमः?
क्रियापदस्य किम् इति प्रश्नं पृच्छति चेत् तस्य उत्तरं प्राप्नोमि चेत् तत् सकर्मक। यदि उत्तरं नास्ति चेत् तत् अकर्मक।
उत्तमम् उत्तमं। तो तत्र अहम् एकं वक्तुं विस्मृतवती। तत्र किं प्रश्नं प्रष्टव्यमेव, परन्तु प्रथमतया कर्ता ज्ञातव्यं। यदि कर्ता न जानीमः तो तत्र विकसति इति अस्ति चेत् पुष्पं विकसति इति अस्ति तत्र किं विकसति इति तत्र उत्तरमस्ति पुष्पम् इति अस्ति परन्तु पुष्पं तत्र विभक्ति का प्रथमा विभक्ति तु कर्तृपदं किम् इति ज्ञात्वा तदनन्तरं किं कं काम् इति पृच्छामः चेत् तत्र यदि उत्तरम् अस्ति तदेव सकर्मकः तत्र यदि निरर्थकः प्रश्नः अस्ति चेत् तत्र अकर्मकः धातु इति जानीमः सर्वे अवगतवन्तः तत्र that is the base level we've all known this I think since pravesha itself praveshatah vayam tatra kevalam nama iti na jnatavantah maybe we didn't know the name exactly but now we know that it's called sakarmaka akarmaka sakarmakah kimartham ityukte tatra karmanah sah iti karmanah sana karmana sah iti okay it is with sah iti agachati tatra it is a samasta padam कर्मणा सह इति सकर्मकः इति भवति तत्र अकर्मकः तत्र इट इज अ नेगेशन नो कर्म इति अस्ति तत्र ओके दैट इज आल्सो अ समस्तपदं देयर ओके तो अग्रे यदा वयं गच्छामः we also did something else सकर्मकत्वं यदि एकः सकर्मकः धातु अस्ति भू धातु वयं दृष्टवन्तः भू धातु इति दृष्टवन्तः तत्र भू धातोः आदौ अहम् अनु इति उपसर्गः अहं योजयिष्यामि उपसर्गं योजयिष्यामि तत्र सकर्मकत्वम् अस्ति वा अकर्मकत्वम् अस्ति वा सकर्मकत्वं तत्र सकर्मकत्वं प्रदर्शयति तत्र इदानीं तत्र भावः एव परिवर्तते खलु किमर्थम् इत्युक्ते इदानीम् अनुभवं नो चेत् भवामि तत्र मीनिंग इज डिफरेंट अर्थः भिन्नः अस्ति तत्र everything that we do in Sanskrit we have to go based on the context if we don't go based on context we are going blind and we are not understanding and doing it correctly for everything we have to understand the meaning and go sometimes we cannot understand it then we will try to do it blindly but as much as possible we have to understand the meaning and based on that we have to see what it is so ashtadhyayi.com madhye if there is a chance of having a sakarmaka so we had a confusion with the dhav dhatu if you will remember so there the dhav dhatu dhav dhavati tatra I think in this class itself someone had said the meaning I should not have done that kshamyata dhavati okay there the meaning is given here to run to flow to cleanse to wash to pravahanam tatra pravahanam iti arthe tatra अकर्मकः टू रन तत्र चलनं शीघ्रं चलनार्थं तत्र तदपि अकर्मकः परन्तु यदि वाश अस्ति टू क्लीन टू वाश इति अस्ति तत्र यू हैव टू क्लीन समथिंग तत्र कर्मपदं भवति एव खलु सो इन द मीनिंग यदि क्लीन नो चेत् प्रक्षालनम् इति अर्थे धाव इति धातु सकर्मकत्वं प्रदर्शयति तो यदि ekamapi in any one meaning if there is a chance of it being a sakarmakam what they will do in ashtadhyayi.com is they will say sakarmakah okay because there is no chance for them to say it is sakarmakah in this meaning it is akarmakah in this meaning they are just going to put a thing of sakarmakah but when we are doing the sentence yadi ekah balakah asti sah क्रीडति सः तत्र धावति क्रीडाङ्गने धावति तत्र अकर्मकत्वं प्रदर्शयति धाव इति धातु तत्र अकर्मक धातु तादृशमेव वयम् उपयोगं कुर्मः खलु so we have to be careful in terms of the meaning so that's why I also got confused because even I wasn't looking at the correct meanings so it's very easy to make a mistake there so let's look at the meanings which meanings are used in akarmakatvam ekanimisham let me see if I can go to the correct tab shamyata wrong one okay so अत्र अनन्तरं we saw also यदि अकर्मक धातु अस्ति रुह धातु खलु यदि रुह धातु अस्ति तत्र रुह तु अकर्मकः धातु परन्तु यदि आरोहति इति अस्ति तत्र वृक्षम् आरोहति तत्र अकर्मकत्वं दृश्यते खलु क्षम्यताम् एकनिमिषम् ओके आन्या Go sit down. I don't want any more disturbances, please. Thank you. Kshamita. So either a sakarmaka dhatu can show akarmakatvam or an akarmaka dhatu can show sakarmakatvam. There is no rule saying this only is allowed or that only is allowed. Okay. But the main in ashtadhyayi.com, it looks at all the meanings of the verb of the root, and then it tells you whether there is even one of them is sakarmaka or akarmaka. That is the difference. Okay. Agre gachamaha. Akarmaka dhatavaha ida atra santi. Dhatavaha atra santi. Ekanimisham. Drishyate va? Drishyate. Atra vridhi, kshaya, bhaya, jivita haranam. Etattu eka karika asti. Akarmaka dhatu arthaha iti. So in these meanings, then the verbs will take on an akarmakatvam. Akarmakatvam drishyate. Etadrishanam arthanam akarmakatvam drishyate. So vridhi ityukte kim? Vridhi ityukte to grow. Kshaya ityukte decay. Bhaya ityukte to fear. So we'll go into that. So etadeva karika. Vridhi, kshaya, bhaya, jivita haranam, to live or to kill. Lajja, satta ityukte to be, bhudhatu. Sthiti, to stay. Jagaranam, to wake. Shayanam, nidram. Krida, ruchi. Deepti, jvalate iti. Jvalate iti arthe. So deeptya arthaha dhatu ganam tam akarmakam ahuhu iti. Ahuhu ityukte it says. Braviti iti tatra. Vadati iti. So that dhatu is basically saying that it is akarmaka there in these meanings. Prayaha, there might be some other meanings where it might be akarmaka, but mainly it is in these meanings. Okay, so it is there on the slide. So the lajja ityukte to feel shy or ashamed. Now if you see in these slides, what we've done is we've added on these dhatus. Okay, these dhatus are from Ashtadhyayi. So if you go and put laj or hri, you can see all the forms, and these can be used for creating akarmaka vakyani. Yadi akarmaka vakyam yadi rachayitum prayatnam kurvanti, tatra you can use any of these dhatus. Okay, for sure these are akarmakam, except when you're using it in the wrong meaning. So being careful there. Satta, tatra bhu dhatu vayam janimaha. As dhatu asti iti. Tadapi akarmakaha eva, akarmaka dhatu eva. Vidyate iti asti tatra. Anantaram vrit, vartate iti api asti. Tatsarvam, to exist. These four are there to exist. Vidyate, vartate, bhavati, asti. Tatsarvam. Stithi, to stand. Sthadatu ityuke tishtati. Sthalati va sthalate va na janami. Bad, dhruvati iti asti tatra. Anataram jagaranam, jagrate iti jagrati, drah iti api asti, to wake. Either to wake or to be watchful, to be aware of what is going around. Vridhi, to grow. Tatra vrid, vartate, vardhate iti asti. Edhate, tadapi in the meaning of to grow only. To sasyani edhante iti vaktum shaknumaha. Pyai, pums, all of these are different dhatus. You can look it up in Ashtadhyayi. You can find the correct lakara form and you can use it in a sentence. Prashna hasti va? Kimapi? It's just basically giving you a list of dhatus that are available for you that are clearly akarmaka. Okay? Kshaya ityukte to decay. Kshi dhatu kshayate, glai, mlai, tatra bhaya, the bhaya, bhiti asti chet tatra, those dhatus are also there. Jivanam, to survive. Jivati iti asti. An, vasati, shvasate iti asti. Tadanantram maranam, mriyate. Anantram shayanam karoti tatra shete, swapiti, saste iti asti. Krida, kridati, khelati, ramate. Rochate, tatra rochati api akarmakaha eva. Deepti. So tatra deepti ityukte tatra deepyate, jvalati, ejate iti asti tatra. Shobhate. So tadeva. So basically in the end it's still the same. Whatever we've done so far, it's still the same that what we've been doing is we look at the meaning of the sentence. We look at the sentence, we look at the meaning of the verb in that sentence, and then we decide tatra dhatuhu sakarmakah asti va akarmakah asti va. Tadeva asti. That is the underlying meaning. Now we have different meanings that Karika has given us, where we can use, they're mostly going to be akarmaka. Okay, so if you're confused, you can look in that list and you can see, is it there in that list or not? If it's there in that list and you don't know the meaning of the full sentence, you can assume that it is akarmaka. But if you know the meaning, then it is even better. Tadeva asti. Okay, any questions so far?
But Mahodaya, that Kelati, we can definitely ask him Kelati Balaka. So
Tatra Kelati, Tatra in Bhashapakaha, I think he mentions Kridati and Kelati, even Rityati also. Kridati iti asti chet tat saha kim kridati ityukte kimapi specific krida asti chet. Khalu, if football asti no chet baseball asti tadrisham, saha baseball kridati iti asti. Then it is showing tatra sakarmakatvam drishyate. Parantu saha kandukena kridati. Saha sa panchalikaya kridati. Tadrisham asti chet tatra akarmakatvam drishyate.
Oh, again context only.
Again it's context. But Puratana in the old, basically from what it's coming from Ashtadhyayi and all, if you look at it, Kridati and Kelati and all are supposedly, Nrityati also, are supposedly akarmaka dhatus. And when I asked my guru about it, like saha football Kridati iti asti tatra, football iti tatra madhye api, it's like, for instance, bhojanam asti. You don't say saha bhojanam khadati. Saha bhojanam karoti ityeva vayam vadamah khalu. Kimartham itukte bhojanam tat padam madhye eva bhunkte iti asti. What you eat. Bhojanam is what you eat. Football is what you play. Khalu. Football is not anything else. It's what you play. So that kridati verb is actually included in there. But the reason we use it when we are talking in the normative sense right now is because it's tatra sambhashane agachati tadrisham eva. So laukika sambhashane tadrisham agachati. Parantu vyakarana ritya yadi vayam pashyamah, football iti tatra, if we look at the Samskrite katham vadamah iti aham na janami, parantu tattu kridati iti madhye ave eva asti. Bharatanatyam iti asti cha tatra natyam asti khalu tatra. Tatra there is already natyam itra. So sa bharatanatyam karoti. Saha football karoti iti eva karaniyam. Tadrisham eva vaktavyam. Parantu laukika bhashayam vayam saha football kridati iti vadamah. Tu tatra sakarmakam drishyate.
Okay. Thank you, Mahodaya. There's a subtle underlying meaning then.
Yes, yes. Because when we were doing, even in the beginning when we did Sambhashana Vargaha, it was clearly said, you cannot say saha bhojanam karoti, saha bhojanam khadati. That is wrong. Because you are doing an extra of that khadati. Khadati is already included in bhojanam. In the same way, these also follow. Tadeva. Sarve avagatamantava. But in Laukika Bhasha, we say saha football kridati. So that Bhashapaka, what in Bhashapaka, Janardhan Hegde Mahodaya says, in that it shows sakarmakatvam. It's okay. Because we have to go with what we speak also, how we speak also. Laukika bhashayam tadrisham asti. Tadeva. Avagatam khalu? Okay. So idanim there is a quiz. Eka pariksha asti. Shall we do the quiz? Shall I set it up and shall we do it? Chat madhye preshishyami va? It's basic. It's just looking at the sentence, deciding whether sakarmakaha, no chet akarmakaha. Eka nimisham. Aham udghatayami. Antarjala kleshaha. Kshamyatam. It's not opening. Okay. What I can do is for this quiz, because it's taking so long, shall I put it in the chat, and in the end you guys can do it on your own and send messages in our Signal group if you have any questions about it? Is that okay? Shall we move on so that I can go on to the next topic? Tadeva karomi idanim. Kshamyatam, there is some problem with my internet. Okay. So agre gachamaha. It's a simple, the only reason I'm going ahead is because that akarmaka, sakarmaka, the
She has an internet problem, Vijay.
Yeah. She'll connect.
Can't hear you, Mahodaya.
I think she's got.
Kshamyatam. Idanim shruyate va?
Yes, yes.
Kshamyatam, there is an internet problem here. It's not very great. So if I disconnect, I'll come back. Kshamyatam. Idanim agre gachamaha. So the akarmaka sakarmaka quiz I'll put into the chat. I'll put in the Signal group as well. You please work through it, and then when we come into next class, we'll go over any questions if you have anything. If you have anything during in Signal itself, if you ask the question, I'll definitely respond there also. Okay. Right now it's not opening. So idanim vikarmakaha dhatuhu ityukte kim iti kaha iti pashyamaha idanim. Akarmakaha sakarmakaha. Those are the two main branches. Sakarmakaha ityukte tatra karmapadam asti eva. Tatra there is another subset dvikarmaka dhatu iti. Tatra dvikarmaka dhatu ityukte tatra karma dvayam bhavati iti asti. There are only a few. Tatra viralaha eva asti. There are only 16 dhatus that are listed in Ashtadhyayi that are dvikarmaka dhatus. But it is not only those dhatus. It is any dhatu that has that same meaning. Again, it's context. It is always context. Okay. So atra ekakarika atrapi asti. So there's no need to worry about it. But it's basically put together. Duh, yach, pach, dand, rudhi, prach, tatra tadrisham asti. So I'll show you, it's there in the next one. This is the karika that's there. If I say it right now, I'll mess it up. So atra shodasha dhatavaha santi. Prathamataya tu tatra duh iti asti. So we don't use this too much. Duh ityukte tatra to milk, to extract milk. You can either extract milk from paneer or something or from the cow. Tatra duh iti. At the first few, the prathama purusha ekavachanam, vivachanam and bahuvachanam rupani are also given here. So you can look at it anytime. It's there in the slides. Yach ityukte kim, to beg, to ask. To ask ityukte tatra yach, yachati iti asti, tatra yachate api asti, tatra ubhayapadi dhatu asti. To ask ityukte, we know another word that is there, to ask. Anybody know what is another word that is to ask? Prichati api asti. Prichati api asti. Pach, vayam janimah, pachate iti asti. Pachate, ubhayapadi dhatu asti. Dand, tatra, we know dandayati as to punish. So when we punish somebody, we can punish someone, and we can punish someone with a specific punishment. So those are the two karma padams there. So when aham putrim dandayami, aham putrim katham dandayami, tatra tadapi karma padameva. Katham dandayami maunastithim dandayami, that you have to stay quiet iti. Aham putrim maunastithim dandayami iti asti. Tatra karma dvayam. Okay. Tatra duh we won't use too much. Yach we already know. Pachati, dandayati also we know. Rudh also we don't use too much. Rudh ityukte to enclose something, or an army when it surrounds and besieges something. Tadrisham asti. It is a different gana. So it is runadhi tadrisham bhavati tatra. Prach iti asti, tatra to ask, to seek, to question. Tatra, that is the main example that is given. To aham prashnam prichhami, aham chatram prashnam prichhami iti asti tatra. So tat anantaram chi iti dhatu asti. Chinoti tadapi ubhayapadi dhatu. Chinoti, chinute tvayam api asti. To collect, to select it, or to pick. Tatra the sentences will come. Tadapi karma dvayam upayogam karoti. Bru dhatu, to speak, to tell, to explain. Tatra bru dhatoho eva रूपद्वयम् अस्ति, नो चेत् रूपत्रयम् अस्ति. ब्रवीति इत्युक्ते तत्र परस्मैपदी रूपं ब्रवीति इति अस्ति, आह अपि अस्ति. It's a slightly different रूपं. That aha you'll see in shlokas. I believe if you have seen in Bhagavad Gita and all that, aha will be there. Khalu? Yes? So that is bru dhatu. Brute iti tatra atmanepadi रूपम् अस्ति. Bru dhatoho अन्ये अपि धातवः सन्ति. To speak ityukte, can anybody tell me any other dhatus for speaking?
Vadati.
Tadeva. Vadati, vachati, tadeva asti. So all of those are all going to be dvikarmaka dhatus, because you can replace that bru dhatu braviti with vadati, vachati, all of that. Vakti, sorry, not vachati. Anantaram shas dhatu. Tatra shas ityukte, there are two main meanings. One is to explain something. So guruhu asti, guruhu shasti iti asti. Tatra tadrisham api asti. Anantaram to rule. To rule is also there. Okay. To rule and to reign are two different things. So shasti ityukte tatra raja asti, nripaha asti, nripaha shasti iti bhavati. There is an example statement that comes up. I want to explain this because this comes in the quiz so that you don't get confused. So shas. Nripaha swarajyam agnapalanam shasti. How does he rule? Tadapi ekam karma asti. Karma padam. Swarajyam, what is he ruling and how is he ruling? Dvayam api tatra. Parantu guruhu shishyam dharmam shasti. So he is explaining to the shishya the dharmam. Okay. Now this same thing, shasti, if you look at Shasti, if you look at this there's another one. We all know this Rajate. We all know Rajate. Rajate ityukte, this is coming in the quiz and I don't want you to get confused. That's why I want you to see this. Rajate ityukte, to reign. Okay. Or to shine, to glitter, to glow. To reign ityukte, you reign in some place. You're not ruling a place. You are tatra. Do you understand the English, the meaning, the two differences there? To rule over something, to rule some place, or to reign in some place. There are two different meanings. Where are you reigning? Tatra kutra eva bhavati. Tatra raja Dasharatha Ayodhyayam rajate. Okay. No chet Dasharatha Ayodhyam shasti. So two different meanings there. Does that make sense? Any question about the two differences? So Rajate there will not be Dvikarmaka. Rajate is actually Akarmaka, if you see it here. It is an Akarmaka dhatu. Okay? Because it is to reign. So you have to look at the meaning correctly and then understand. So Rajate over there is to reign. It's not to rule. Okay?
Can you give that example?
Mahodaya Punarekavaram.
Vadatu. So, Tatra shasti ityukte. So if we look at the shas dhatu, shas dhatu, atra, where is it? To rule. Here, this one. Shas dhatu, to order, to tell, to explain, to educate, inform, rule. So here, if you look at the meaning of it, it is basically there are people, there is a group, and you are ruling over them. You are teaching them, you are explaining to them, you are giving them rules, you are confining them in a certain, you are restricting them in certain things. So when you're ruling, that's what it is. You are giving them boundaries. That's what it means. Tatra. Okay, that is that shasti. That's what that means. So Dasharatha Ayodhyam shasti. He rules Ayodhya. Ayodhyayaha prajam shasti. He rules over the people in Ayodhya. He rules over Ayodhya. Tatra tadrisham asti. So there it is karma padam. Agnya palanam shasti. With by following the rules. Agnya palanam shasti. Tatra Ayodhyam agnya palanam shasti. Dasharatha. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Then if we go into Rajate, tatra, the meaning over there is to reign, to shine, to glorify, to be glorified, or no, to glow, to be lustrous. So tatra yadi vayam vadamaha Dasharatha Ayodhyayam rajate. He is lustrous in Ayodhya. He is reigning in Ayodhya. Saha tatra bhushayati. He is the jewel of Ayodhya. Tadrisham asti tatra. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Shasti is to rule. When you are putting conditions, you are telling them you have to do it like this. This is how you have to do it. That sort of ruling. This here is he's sitting on the throne and he's the beauty. He's the he's the glow of Ayodhya. Tadrisham asti. Does that the differences make sense?
Mahoday, so Dasharatha Ayodhyam Palayati is like
Shasti.
Shasati.
Shasti.
Shasti.
Yes.
So, but Rajate is like he's
Bhushayati.
I mean, he's the like
Bhushayati.
okay.
Huh?
Okay.
Saha abharanam asti.
Bhushayati. Okay. Okay.
Tadrisham.
Okay.
Also, Asha asti. Kshamyatam. Apparent. Kshamyatam. Shruyate va?
Shruyate, Mahoday.
I'm very sorry about it today. There is some problem. Okay. Hopefully it will get better next time. Last time it was not this bad. Okay. So, atra Udaharana Vakyani. So we finished. Let me just go over the other dhatus. So we also have this Ji dhatu. We know Ji Jayati iti asti tatra. Ji dhatu tatra you are conquering or winning something over somebody. Tadrisham asti tadeva tadapi. Kshamyatam, my home internet is also not good and I put it on hotspot. Tadapi samyak nasti. Na janami kimartham iti. It's not usually like this. Shruyate va? If this happens too much, we'll just I'll try and I might have to let me see whether what we'll do. Okay. So atra udaharana vakyani api santi. So duh ityukte tatra gopalaha gam dugdham dogdhi iti asti tatra.
Mahoday bhavati screen share न करोति.
हाँ, screen share करोमि. न दृश्यते वा?
न दृश्यते.
न दृश्यते. Okay. करोमि. इदानीं दृश्यते वा? दृश्यते वा? So atra in this set of slides, in the week 15 set of slides, the udaharana vakyani are also here for the vikarmaka dhatus. Gopalah gam dugdham dogdhi. Sureshah mahesham pustakam yachate. So tatra kim? Sureshah yachate. Sureshah prichati. Sureshah pustakam prichati. Kimartham prichati? Pustakam avashyakam iti saha prichati. Kasmat prichati? Maheshat prichati. Parantu because of the vyakaranam, because of the specific vyakaranam that is associated with yach dhatu, this maheshat iti, you can also write it as mahesham. Okay, it is only because Panini, that is what that is the sambhashanam that was happening in that time when Panini was creating his rules. People were using it with two karma padams. So mahesham pustakam yachate tadrisham eva vyavaharam asit tat samayam. So tatra Panini has consolidated into these 16 dhatus, one of which is yach. Okay, mahesham pustakam yachate. The same meaning I can say. Uttama, you can go play. Sureshah maheshat pustakam yachate. Tatra dvayamapi samanartha vakyani. Samanartha vakya asti. Staha. They are both the same meaning. Even though I have changed the vibhakti and said mahesham and maheshat, they are both in the same meaning. The meaning doesn't change. Okay. It is just that ekaha apara vibhakti upayujya api vaktum shaknumaha. There is a vikalpa rupam there. That's all. Okay. Pach. Pachakaha shakan kvatitam pachati. Okay. Shakan kvatitam pachati ityukte tatra he is using vegetables. Now the problem with this, okay, this statement is when we think about it, Pachakaha Shakaihi upayujya eva vaktum shaknumah. We want to say he's using vegetables. Shakaihi kvatitam pachati. We want to say it like that. He's using vegetables, right? Instrumental case. Sadhanam iti. Parantu, again, there are certain vyakaranam rules, okay, where niyamaha santi tatra shakaihi iti na vaktavyam, tatra shakanam shashti vibhakti upayujya eva vaktavyam. So vikalpa rupam asti, parantu vikalpena vibhakti ka tatrapi niyamaha asti. Okay, now we don't know those rules. We don't have to get into those rules. I can put up a document which has those rules as to which ones are allowed and which ones are not allowed. But for us, it doesn't matter. At this point in time, because we know atra dvikarmaka dhatu asti, dvayam api dvitiya vibhaktyam eva bhaktum shaknumaha. So tatra chinta nasti. Anya vibhakti ka iti tatra niyamaha asti. Tatra niyamaha niyamam nyatva eva vayam tadrisham vikalpena vaktum shaknumaha. Yadi niyamam na janimaha, tatra we can make a mistake, but that's okay. If you make a mistake, it's okay, but you have to know that these specifics. So this Maheshat pustakam, you cannot say Maheshaya pustakam, we have to say Maheshat pustakam. Shakan kvatitam, we cannot say Shakaihi kvatitam pachati, you have to say Shakanam kvatitam pachati. Kimartham iti aham api na janami. Tatra Kaumudi iti asti ekam pustakam ashtadhyayi madhye api. Vadatu. So do you understand what I'm saying? So right now, these sentences have two karma padams, two words that are in dvitiya vibhakti. We've already discussed that these two are not visheshanams of each other. These two are separate. Tatra paraspara anvayaha nasti. Both shakan api pachati, kvatitam api pachati. Both the anvayas happen with the verb. So that's why this is dvikarmaka dhatu. Now, when it comes to this dvikarmaka dhatu, this two, shakan and kvatitam, both of which are in dvitiya vibhakti, one of them can be said in a different vibhakti. Like Maheshat pustakam yachate, Mahesham pustakam yachate. Pustakam sarvada karma padam eva. Because you cannot say kim yachate is only pustakam. Correct? You cannot say pustakaya yachate, pustake yachate, pustakasya yachate, tadrisham na bhavati. Parantu Maheshat yachate iti samyak. Hello? So one of them, sarvada, it will always be in dvitiya vibhakti. The other one will have a vikalpa rupam in a different vibhakti. Now that vikalpa rupam, which vibhakti is stated as a given in Ashtadhyayi, in Kaumudi, okay, in Siddhartha Kaumudi. That rule we don't have to go into right now. It's too much in depth to go into right now. We don't need to do it. We can set up a document later toward the end of Lataa where we can have that, what is the correct vibhakti to use in vikalpa form, etc. But for now, we know that if it's a dvikarmaka dhatu, we can use both the Mahesham and Pustakam both in dvitiya vibhakti. Don't go and try and change the vibhakti form, okay? Because we don't know the rule right now into which vibhakti it can be changed. So when we do this, these are the atra udaharanani santi. Adhyapika chatram prashnam prichhati. Malakaraha latam pushpam chinoti. Okay? Latayaha pushpam chinoti. From the lata. Tatra. Guruhu shishyam dharmam brute. Tadrisham santi. I just want to go into that last slide before we come back to this. We'll come back to this. Before we go into this, there is one thing that is important. Okay, this one. Okay. Drishyate va? Okay. Dvikarmaka dhatunam karmadvayoho bhedaha. What is the difference between the two? I've just said it. Tatra ekam karma pradhanam asti. One is the mukhya karma. Dvitiyam karma to gauna karma asti. Gaunam ityukte, it is not the mukhyam. Mukhyam versus gaunam. Okay, it is the sub. It is the thing. So yasya karmanaha nirdeshaha nityam कर्मकारेण एव भवति. Mahesham pustakam yachate. Mahesham, that pustakam cannot change into a different vibhakti. Pustakam has to stay in dvitiya vibhakti all the time. So tatra tadeva pradhana karma. Pradhana karma iti vaktum shaknumaha. Okay. Aparasya karmanaha nirdeshaha anya karakena different vibhakti. Vikalpa vibhakti rupena vaktum shaknumaha. Chet tat gauna karma. So there are in dvikarmaka dhatus, they will have two karma padams. One of them will be a pradhana karma, mukhya karma. The other one will be a gauna karma. The gauna karma, the reason it is called a gauna karma is because it will have a vikalpa vibhakti form. It will have an optional other vibhakti form. Is this clear? Does this make sense? Does anyone have questions on it? So here are some atra udaharanani pashyantu. Mata putram griham nayati. Mata putram griham nayati. Putram. So tatra kam nayati, kam nayati, kim nayati, tatra putram eva. Putram iti, you cannot change. She's taking or she's leading her son. That son has to be in dvitiya vibhakti. Can it be in any other vibhakti? Putre nayati, putrasya nayati, na bhavati. Kevalam putram nayati eva. Tu putram eva tatra pradhana karma, mukhya karma. Griham nayati, that is she's taking her son to the house, or she's taking her son in the house. She's carrying her son in the house. To the house or in the house. Dvayam api griham nayati eva. And the vikalpa form will be grihe nayati. Grihe nayati signifies both to the house and in the house. Okay, I know to the house we want to say with grihaya nayati, we want to say with chaturthi vibhakti, but that is not correct. It is grihe nayati because of the niyama. That the vikalpa form for this dvikarmaka dhatu, ni dhatu, is with saptami vibhakti only. Adhikarana eva asti. So grihe nayati. Both those sentences mean exactly the same thing. When I want to say the mother carries her son in the house, I will say Mata Putram Griham Nayati, no chet Mata Putram Grihe Nayati. If I want to say the mother carries her son to the house, Tatrapi Dvayameva Samyak. You have to look at the context. So in the story, if the mother is outside and she's carrying her son to the house, there you will use it and you will understand the context. If in the story she's carrying in the house, you will understand the context. Tadeva asti. Does this make sense? So atra pradhana karma tu putra padam asti, anantaram griha iti gauna karma asti. Okay, tadeva. Anantaram
one question. So in there is one rule for gachati or something, right? Some
yes.
We use the dvitiya only for
yes. So gam dhatu will be a sakarmaka dhatu, but there the vikalpa form is chaturthi vibhakti. Saha griham gachati, no chet saha grihaya gachati. Tadeva asti. Because that is a niyama. Tadeva asti. There is actually a sutra for it.
That is not a dvikarmaka.
No. Gachati is not a dvikarmaka. Gam dhatu is just sakarmaka. Tadeva. So, Brahmanaha Chatram Margam Prichati. Saha kim Prichati. So, tatra pradhana karma padam kim? Tatra
Margam.
Margam Prichati. Margena Prichati, Margasya Prichati tadrisham na bhavati. Kevalam Margam Prichati. Parantu Chatram Prichati. So he's asking the chatra. He's asking from the chatra to the chatra. We don't know what it is. Whether it should be apadanam or it should be sampradanam. Okay, because we don't know the niyama. But it doesn't matter because we can tell when we do the translation that it is to, he's either putting the question to the chatra or he's asking from the chatra. So there we can see that there is a vikalpa form available. Does that make sense? Vikalpa rupam asti eva, parantu niyamam nyatva eva samyak vaktum shaknuah. Vibhakti ka iti. Tatra vikalpena katham vaktavyam iti. So brahmanaha Chatrat eva margam prichati. Tatra it's apadana. It is an apadana kriya, so it has to be chatrat. Okay, that is the niyama. So for prich dhatu, it has to be apadanam, and for ni dhatu, it has to be adhikaranam. It has to be saptami. We know these two now. These are the two rules that we know. If these come, we can use. If the others come, we don't know. We won't use. We can use only as dvikarmaka. It is simple at this point in time. Okay. Okay. So now,
Mahoday, in this case, Brahmanaha Chatraya is not right?
no.
Chatraya.
No, even I was thinking that only. Chatraya eva
Because that will be also okay. No.
No, he is asking from the chatra. Apparently, the niyamam is that you have to use apadanam eva. Atra. Tadeva. Eka nimisham. क्षम्यतां मम पतिः इदानीमेव प्रक्षालनयन्त्रं नीत्वा आगतवान्. Okay.
So here Brahmanaha Chatrat Margam Prichati, it is like from the, it is Brahmanaha is asking from the.
Correct.
So if you have to ask to asking to the student is not possible, is what you're saying.
No, I think there you are because we are doing direct translation right now, it won't work.
Okay.
Okay, because the meaning is still the same. It's not like the context is still that the Brahmana is putting the question to the Chatra, and the Chatra he's asking about the Marga. What is the road? Iti. So there the way we Sanskritena katam vadamaha tatra Brahmanaha Chatram Margam Prichati, nachet Brahmanaha Chatrat Margam Prichati. Tadeva samyak.
Okay.
If you look at in Hindi or something, there also it is balak se puch raha hai.
Save. Tatra apadanam.
So there from I think there also it is apadanam.
Correct. So there might be matching. If you look at it in our language, Bharatiya Bhashayam, there might be more match up if you look at it, and you might be able to tell the rule better than if we look at it in English.
So.
Tadeva.
Okay.
So
And
let's.
what is Ubhayata Sadhu?
Ubhayatha ityukte tatra both places, both versions are sadhu ityukte samyak.
Okay.
Ubhayatha, both versions are correct. Tatra. Okay. So atra abhyasah asti. Let's do the abhyasam and we'll look at what is the pradhana karma and gauna karma also in this. Eka nimisham. So let's go one by one. Atra Hina Mahodi Bhavati Prathamam Karoti va? Atra just make the sentence. Atra Vakyam Rachayatu. Tadanantaram Pradhana Karma Kim, Gauna Karma Kim iti vaktavya.
Pradhan is a marga.
Prathamam tu Sampurna Vakyam vadatu.
Chalakaha Apnikaha Margaha Pruchati.
Katham Drikarmakam tu Karma Padam.
Chalakaha Apnikam Margam Pruchanti. So Apnikat Margam Pruchati.
So Pradhana Karma
is Marga.
Samyak and Gauna Karma is Apanika.
Dharma Karma Apanika.
Samyak. Uttamam. Agre. Uttamam. Vijay Menon Mahodi Bhagavan vadatu.
Gopalaha Denuhu Goshtaha Nayati. Gopalaha Kim Nayati. Goshta
is that shed or something?
Shed of
the cow shed.
Gopalaha Goshtam Nayati. And what Goshtam? Not okay. We can't ask. Okay. Gopalaha
Denava.
Prathamam tu karma dvayam upayujya sampurna vakyam rachetu.
Okay. So Denum only, is it? No. Denum. So Gopalaha Denum Goshtam Nayati.
Samyak. Tatra pradhana karma kim?
Denum I think is
Samyak. Because he's taking that the cow only. You can't do anything.
Cows is the main. So Dhenum iti. Goshtam is the what is the other one?
Gauna karma.
Gauna karma.
Because he's taking to the pradhana karma, no chet mukhya karma. You'll see both versions. Pradhana or mukhya. Pradhana karma, mukhya karma, no chet gauna karma.
Gauna karma. Okay. So Goshtam is gauna karma, pradhanam is Dhenu.
Samyak. Because he's taking to the cowshed. So there is a different vibhakti there, which for Nayati we know. What is the other vibhakti that we will use?
Chaturthi we can use.
Saptami. We will use Saptami. So Goshthe Nayati. तदेव उत्तमम् अग्रे प्रिया महोदय भवती अग्रिमं करोति वा
आं महोदय जनकः अम्बां वार्तां वदति वार्तां मुख्यकर्मः अम्बां गौणकर्मः
सम्यक् टू द मदर तदेव बहु सम्यक् I think over here it will be to this thing amba yai, it will be chaturthi, but I don't know the niyama, so I won't say anything. I'll find out and I'll tell you. I'll put up a document. Agre gachamah. Nirmal Mahodaya bhavan karoti va agrimam?
Krishnaha Arjunam Gitam Bodhyati. So here Gitam is the mukhya karma and Arjunam is the gona karma.
Very good. To Arjuna. Very good. Samyak.
Yeah.
Bhagya Mahodaya bhavita.
So if you want to say in the other way, we have to say Krishna Arjunai Gitam Bodhyati.
Samyak. Atra tu chaturthi eva. Uttama. Bhagya Mahodaya bhavati vadati va agrimam?
Mahodaya. Bhikshikaha grihinim bhojanam prarthayati. So grihini is the pradhana karma, bhojanam gauna.
Idanim chintayetu bhikshukah asti saha prarthayati. Saha kim prarthayati?
Bhojanam prarthayati.
Kasmat prarthayati grihinim grihinitah prarthayati.
Grihinyaha. Yeah.
Tadeva. So grihini will be gauna karma, bhojanam will be pradhana karma. Tadeva.
Pradhana karma.
Samyak. Agre gachamah.
Bhikshukah grihinyai bhojanam prarthayati. No, grihinyat, I mean, grihinyaha.
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 Panchami, apadanam. Grihinyaha bhojanam prarthayati. Mahodaya bhavati eva. Rajshri Mahodaya.
Chatraha adhyapakam sandehan pruchati.
Samyak. Pruchanti.
Pruchanti. Sandehan is the mukhya karma.
Samyak.
And adhyapakaha is the gauna karma. So
Samyak.
we can use their panchami again, is it?
Yes. Apadanam. So adhyapakat sandehan pruchanti.
But normally we would have used a chaturthi.
That's what I've been using so far, and now I realize that is wrong. It has to be panchami.
Okay.
So we have to go like Nirmal Mahodaya had said, unse we ask, right? So that's why we have to ask apadanam. Tadev. Okay. Agre tu Vijay Sundaram Mahodaya bhavan vadati va?
Mata balakaha kada kathayati.
Balan kathaha kathayati.
Bala katham kathayati.
Kathaha. Tatra mukhya karma kim? Kathaha. Kim kathayati? Kathaha kathayati. Samyak.
Yes.
So the balaha will be gauna karma. Because to the boys, she is telling it to the boys. Or you can, so it can either be mata balaha kathaha kathayati if it is girls, or mata balan kathaha kathayati tadeva if it is boys, or even one boy. Agre gachamah. Vanamala Mahodaya bhavati karoti va agrimam?
बालिका शाला पुस्तकानि नयति शालां
शालां शालां तत्र शाला इत्युक्ते तत्र कर्म प्रधानकर्म वा गौणकर्म वा
शालां प्रधानमुख्यकर्म
इदानीं चिन्तयतु बालिका नयति बालिका किं नयति कानि नयति
किं नयति पुस्तकानि नयति सो पुस्तकानि इस् प्रधानकर्म
सम्यक्
शाला इस् गौणकर्म
सम्यक् because she is taking to the shala she's taking to the shala or in the shala wherever she's carrying it doesn't matter so tatra tadapi we have to, if we want to use vikalpa rupam we have to go in which vibhakti saptami vibhakti shalayam balika shalam pustakani nayati balika shalayam pustakani nayati samyak
Mahodaya, for the previous one, 7th one, which is the vikalpa rupam?
Kathayati will be the same, I think, as it should be chaturthi, like bodhayati only. I'm thinking. So, balebhyah, it doesn't, balebhyah or balabhyah, depends on the gender. So, mata balebhyah kataha kathayati. Ityeva bhavati iti aham chintayami.
Okay.
Similar to bodhayati. She's doing it to the, for the sake of the, for the reason of the kids. Tadeva.
But in the normal sentence, because it's bahuvachana, we'll say balan.
Balan. If it is vikarma, if you're using it as a karma padam, then if it is boys, you'll say balan. If it is girls, you'll say balaha. Bala bale balaha. Balam bale balaha eva. So tatra परिवर्तनं न भवति यदि आकारान्त अस्ति चेत् अनुराधा महोदय भवती अग्रिमं करोति वा
आं महोदय जनाः नायकं साहाय्यं प्रार्थयन्ति साहाय्यं मुख्यकर्म नायकः गौणकर्म
सम्यक् उत्तमं तदेव सो अत्र प्रार्थयन्ति अपि तत्र तदपि अपादानमेव खलु तत्र नायकात् साहाय्यं प्रार्थयन्ति सेम् लैक् पृच्छति एव तदेव Agre ka will start.
But in the 16 verb, Prarthayati was not there. No, anything that has that meaning will come.
Yes, that's right. That also that used to confuse me so badly. So when you have those 16 verbs, it is not only those dhatus, it is anything that conveys that meaning. So even if it is a an upasarga sahita dhatu, sometimes those convey that meaning, then also it works that way.
Okay.
तदेव अग्रे राजश्री महोदय भवती पुनः करोति वा
योगी शिष्यान् मन्त्रान् उपदिशति
सम्यक्
मन्त्राः is the मुख्य कर्म
सम्यक्
शिष्याः is the gauna karma
सम्यक्
vikalpa will be
बहुवचनं
शिष्येभ्यः
चतुर्थी लाइक बोधयति ओनली सो योगी शिष्येभ्यः मन्त्रान् उपदिशति तदेव सम्यक् so on do the vikalpa rupams only for the ones that we know which is like bodhayati prichhati kathayati that we know and nayati is saptami only for those do the vikalpa rupam when we don't know the rule. Let's not use the vikalpa rupam. Let's just say that this is the gauna karma, but we don't know the vikalpa rupam because we don't know the rule yet. Let's leave it at that. Okay?
Upa is upasarga here, right?
Yes. Upa is upasarga.
Upadishati.
Yes. Dishati is direction. Upadishati is giving the direction by saying something.
Okay, so then we don't need to worry about like a sakarmaka, akarmaka here.
Well, it is
the bhava.
Tatra tu badatu upa plus dish. Tatra sakarmaka va akarmaka va.
Kim vishati. Oh, kaha upashati yogi upadishati, right? So Kim, then you do get an answer.
You do get an answer. You get two answers because this is Dvikarmaka.
So, right. Okay.
So if it is Dvikarmaka, it is automatically Sakarmaka.
Okay.
If it's sakarmaka, it can possibly be dvikarmaka. Tadeva asti.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Mahodaya. So in this abhyasam, we will say what is mukhya karma and what is gauna karma, and then we will say what is the vikalpa.
Only if we know the rule.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Only if we know the rule. So for bodhayati, for prichhati, prarthayati, all those things where we're asking, it will be panchami vibhakti, apadanam. When it is nayati, vahati, all of that in dvikarmaka form, when you're carrying that form, then it will be in saptami vibhakti. When it is bodhayati, kathayati, vadati, it will be, the vikalpa form will be chaturthi. So these are the only ones we know. We don't know any of the others. Okay. So also pachati is also shashti vibhakti. That much I know. The vikalpa form for pachati, pachate is also shashti vibhakti. But let's not worry about that. The main idea here is to know that some verbs are there where it cannot take on a karma padam at all. So when we have a thing like when we have a statement like with asti in there, okay. So saha santosham asti. We know that is wrong because as dhatu is akarmakam. Tatra as dhatu akarmakaha dhatu asti. Tataha karma padam na bhavati. So saha santosham asti iti samyak nasti. Tatra sadhu vakyam nasti. So saha santoshaha asti. Saha santushtaha asti. Tadeva samyak. Kimartam ityukte we need to use as a visheshanam. Parantu anubhavati iti tatra sakarmakam pradarsyate. Tu saha santosham anubhavati iti vaktum shaknumaha. So we can check our sentence formations by knowing whether it is akarmaka or sakarmaka. And when we know it is dvikarmaka, we can say a more complicated sentence in a more easier way by using it in two karma padams. So we don't have to worry saha maheshat prashnam pritchati. We can say saha mahesham prashnam pritchati iti tadeva. So it is making it easier for us when we use this dvikarmaka version. Tadeva asti. Kinchit sulabhataya vaktum shaknumah. Tadeva. Agre ka bhagya mahodi bhavati karoti va?
Mahodaya. Bhaktaha mandiram pushpani nayanti. Pushpani. So mandiram pushpani nayanti. Pushpani pradana.
Samyak.
Mandiram mandire pushpani nayanti or mandiram pushpani nayanti.
Bahu samyak. Bahu samyak. So mandiram is gauna karma. Bahu samyak. Uttama.
Gauna karma. Dhanyawad.
Agre hina mahodi bhavati karoti va?
Pita karyalayam lekhanyah nayati. Pita lekhanya is mukhya. Lekhani.
Tatra ikaranta bahuvachana shabdah. So you have to go in dvitiya vibhakti bahuvachanam. Nadi nadyau nadyah. Nadim nadyau.
Nadihi. Lekhanihi. Pita lekhanihi nayati. So it is mukhya karma.
Samyak.
And gauna is karyalayam. So it will be karyalaye. Pita karyalaye. Karyalaye lekhanihi nayati.
Samyak. Uttama. So pita karyalayam lekhanihi nayati. No chet pita karyalaye lekhanihi nayati. So lekhani will be pradhana karma and karyalayam gauna karma. Bahu samyak. Tadeva. So atra the other thing to keep in mind, I think we already discussed this last class also, but just it's worth noting again. Atra balakaha pathati iti vakye tatra karma padam na drishyate. Khalu. Tatra kim pathati iti na drishyate. Parantu yadi aham vadami yadi aham pritchami kim patati balakaha kim pathati tatra nirarthakaha prashnaha nasti. Tatra uttaram bhavitum arhati khalu. Kimapi pathati saha aham idanim na janami parantu kimapi pathati. Tatra karma padam bhavati bhavitum arhati. So tatra pat dhatu sakarmaka dhatu. Even though the karma padam is not there in the statement, it can still take a karma padam. It still allows for a karma padam. Hence it is sakarmaka. Okay, an akarmaka we can state clearly that it is an akarmaka dhatu only when it can never take on a karma padam in that meaning. Not, it can never have the possibility of taking on a karma padam. So tatra nadi vahati, pravahati tatra flowing ityarthe, pravahanam ityarthe, nadi vahati ityarthe, tatra kim vahati, nadi kim vahati iti na vaktum shaknumaha. Tatra nirataka prashna. Tatra vaktum shaknumaha, vah dhatu tatra pravahanam ityarthe akarmakatvam drishyate iti vaktum shaknumaha. Avagatam va? So always context, context, context. Without context, we cannot do anything. Okay. Dvikarmakam api tadrisham eva. Yadi dvikarmakah dhatu asti, tatra dvayam api avashyakam iti nasti. Tatra आचार्यः छात्रं प्रश्नं पृच्छति, आचार्यः छात्रं पृच्छति तदपि सम्यक्, आचार्यः प्रश्नं पृच्छति तदपि सम्यक्. But that doesn't mean that prach dhatu is, when we say आचार्यः छात्रं पृच्छति तत्र प्रच धातु केवलं सकर्मकः एव, परन्तु द्विकर्मकः नास्ति इति न वक्तुं शक्नुमः. Right? Just because there are no two karma padams, there is still a possibility of having two karma padams, hence dvikarmakah asti eva. Avagatam va? Okay, so these were the main meanings of the these were the main things about sakarmakah, akarmakah and dvikarmakah. Okay, so and so far we've covered sankhya vachaka padani, we've covered dvikarmakah, akarmakah and sakarmakah. What we have to move on to next is this purana pratyayantaha, which I don't know if we have time for. It is 12:20. We have 10 minutes. Shall I just start us off quickly and give you an overview so that next time when you come, it'll be that much clearer? Is that okay with you?
Yep.
We'll take 10 minutes. So we won't finish this topic. It's a big topic, but we'll just give it a start. Okay. So atra purana pratyayantaha iti asti. Eka nimisham aham idanim vadami. So atra ke kati janaha santi kakshayam 1 2 3 4 5 6 9 nava janaha santi kakshayam. नव जनाः सन्ति. इदानीम् अहम् आवलीं लिखामि, लिस्ट् लिखामि. अत्र लिस्ट् लिखामि. अत्र अहं वदामि आवलीं पश्यतु महोदय, तत्र त्रयः, तत्र नव जनाः सन्ति. I want to say please call on the third person इति अस्ति. There are 9 people, please call on the third person. So आङ्ग्लीय भाषायां when we say 9 people, there we call it cardinal numbers. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 cardinal numbers. Okay, but we want to say first, second, third, fourth, fifth, they're called ordinal numbers. Okay, so that's the same thing in our samskrite api tadrisham eva bhavati. Kimartham ityukte atra pancha balakaah santi. So atra eka katha asti, pashyantu. अध्यापकः वदति कति बालकाः सन्ति इति वदति. तत्र छात्रः वदति पञ्च बालकाः. सम्यक् एव. पुनः पृच्छति कस्य युतकं हरितम् अस्ति इति पृच्छति. हरितं तु तत्र बालकः वदति नामानि इदानीं न जानामि अहं, कथं वक्तुं शक्नुमः इति सः पृच्छति. सो अध्यापकः वदति अन्यमार्गः नास्ति वा. सो त्रयस्य युतकं हरितम् इति वदति. इदानीं त्रयस्य इत्यर्थे तत्र त्रयः इत्युक्ते किम्? जनत्रयं, बालकत्रयम् अस्ति, बालकत्रयस्य युतकं हरितं तादृशं नास्ति. अत्र त्रयस्य हरितं नास्ति खलु. अत्र तु केवलम् एकस्य एव बालकस्य युतकं हरितम् अस्ति. सो यू हैव टू नो हाउ टू स्टेट ऑर्डिनल नंबर्स. तदेव अग्रिम पाठः अस्ति. इदानीं संख्यावाचकशब्दाः न उपयोगं कर्तुं शक्नुमः. क्रमवाचकशब्दानाम् एव उपयोगं करणीयम्. क्रमवाचकं means order, in which order. So ordinal numbers in English that we say, संस्कृतेन कथं वक्तुं शक्नुमः? क्रमवाचकशब्दाः, नो चेत् पूरणप्रत्ययान्ताः. पूरणप्रत्ययान्ताः किमर्थं? They are actually called, okay, we'll go into that next. So kramashah, so purana, these are the two ways that we can name them. Kramavachaka shabdaha no chet purana pratyayantaha. Okay, these are the names. Purana, so there is a pratyaya. Purani iti pratyaya asti. So Purana Pratyayantaha. Slides मध्ये अस्ति अग्रे. So क्रमशः कथं वक्तुं शक्नुमः इदानीं पश्यन्तु. प्रथमः बालकः केसरयुतकं धारयति. The first boy. अनन्तरम् अहं द्वितीयं बालकं पश्यामि. तत्र विभक्ति का द्वितीयम् इति? द्वितीया विभक्ति. उत्तमम्. तृतीयेन बालकेन विना हरितं युतकं न भवति. तत्र तृतीया विभक्ति. चतुर्थाय बालकाय नूतनं चित्रयुतकं दास्यामि. चित्रयुक्तं युतकं दास्यामि. I will give a t-shirt with a picture on it. तादृशं. So चतुर्थाय तत्र चतुर्थी विभक्ति. चतुर्थी विभक्ति. पंचमात् बालका चाकलेहं स्वीकरोमि इति अस्ति. तत्र पंचमी विभक्ति. अत्र किमर्थम् एतादृशम् अस्ति? पूर्णप्रत्ययान्तानाम् अपि विभक्ति रूपाणि भिन्नानि सन्ति. तत्र त्रिषु लिङ्गेषु अपि भवति. त्रिषु वचनेषु अपि भवन्ति रूपाणि. सप्तसु विभक्तिषु अपि भवन्ति.
कुछ भी टमाटा कांदा वो तो सब चाहिए वो.
So we have in 3 lingas, 3 vachanas and 7 vibhaktis. Okay, Purana Pratyayantas. Now when we do, the main confusion arises when we come to Purana Pratyayantas is when we do our Anuvadam. Anuvadam kartum samaye, we have to be careful. Are we using Purana Pratyayantas or are we using Sankhya Vachaka Shabdas? Trayah balakaha santi, tatra tritiyah balakaha kimapi vadati. Okay, त्रयः बालकाः तत्र बहुवचनं. त्रयः इत्युक्ते नित्य बहुवचनान्तं. त्रयः बालकाः सन्ति. बालकः तृतीयः बालकः अहं पश्यामि. तृतीयं बालकम् अहं पश्यामि. सो क्रमं सूचयितुं क्रमवाचक शब्दाः. पूरण प्रत्यय, that's how it's broken up. पूरण प्रत्यय अन्ताः. So अन्ताः, they've got this purana, their puranis are these numbers. So that's what they're called, Purana Pratyayantaha. Purani Sankhya ityukte Pratamaha, Dvitiyaha, Ityadayaha. They're also called, so Purana Pratyayantas are also called Purani Sankhyas. Okay, so Kramavachaka Shabdaha, Purana Pratyayantaha, Purani Sankhyaha. Different names, if you see it anywhere else. More in Pravesha, you will, Parichaya, you will see it mostly as Purana Pratyayantas only. Okay, just to note that there are different ways to call the same thing. Prashnartham, now here's the thing, you will not use Kati Balak. You cannot say Kati Balakaha. Kati Balakaha ityukte tatra uttaram katham vadamaha. Sankhya-vachaka shabdam upayujye eva vaktum shaknumaha. Kati Balakaha santi, trayah Balakaha santi, tadrisham eva khalu. So when we want an answer as a out of a group, which of them or who out of this group it is, there you have to use this katamas. Iti prashnavachaka shabdah asti. Katamas. So we will go into this later into detail, in depth. So tatra katamasa margena. Katamas iti katamaha iti pullinge. Katama iti strilinge. Katamam iti napumsakalinge. So that is also going to be declined in all the different vibhaktis and vachanas. So katamasa margena mohanaha gatavan. It's a sakaranta shabdaha and it can be declined in all 3 lingas, all 3 vachanas and all 7 vibhaktis. Okay. Katamasa margena mohanaha gatavan. Katamayai balikayai bhavati pustakam dattavati. Out of the group, to which girl did you give the book? Out of the group. Okay. Kasyai balikayai bhavati pustakam dattavati is also correct. When I'm asking kasyai balikayai, what does it mean? If I say kasyai balikayai,
which girl?
Which girl? That is not,
yeah.
That is not saying anything about a group. But when I say
right.
Kamayai balikayai, it is
which
saying
numbered girl?
There are a bunch, there are a group of girls. Out of that group, out of that list, there is an ordered list. Which girl in that list are you giving the book to? That is the difference between these 2 questions. Okay. Katamataha pustakat etam chitram nitavan. Kasmat pustakat api samyak eva. But if you want to specify and say out of these books, which book is it, then you will say katamataha. So it is not a commonly used.
If it is instead of balikaye, if it is balkaye, balkaye,
Balakaya.
will it become will it become katmaye balkaye or katmaye balkaye?
It will become katamase balakaya, because it is a sakaranta shabdaha.
Okay.
Slightly
Sorry.
different.
Sorry.
No,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. But it will be pulling. It will be pulling, right?
Pulling, exactly. Pulling it.
Okay. So this has a form in vibhaktis in all three forms.
Exactly. This is also a
Pulling.
Vishayanam.
Okay.
This is also a
Okay,
Vishayanam.
okay.
Just like your kaha prashnavachaka shabdaha, this is also exactly
Okay.
the same in all
Okay.
three lingas, all three vachanas, and all 7 vibhaktis.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
it has to be follow the same. Yad lingam, yad vachanam, ya vibhakti. It has to follow.
Okay. Thank you.
Chintavasta. So wait a minute. I don't want to go into this. Okay. Now it's there in the slides. So if you want to look at it before coming into the next lesson, you can do that. In this one, we already know how to say pratamaha, dvitiyaha. We know how to say ekadashi. Ekadashyam aham kimapi na khadami. Vratam karomi iti asti tatra. So we know certain forms already. There are, like the sankhya vachaka shabdas, there are rules as to how we can form the different words in the different lingas and the different vachanas and all that. Certain things have only, the vachanas are there in all 3 vachanas. It is there. Now, when we come in next class, we will also see how a bahuvachanam form will be used, etc. So right now we know how to say pratamaha balakaha. But if you want to say the first fruits of the season. So there is a ritoho phalani santi. Ritoho prathamani phalani madhurani santi. The first fruits of the season are sweet. So there you can use it in bahuvachanam form. Okay. So we'll go into that in the next lesson when we come. Tadeva asti. So at this point in time, basically all the akarmaka, sakarmaka, dvikarmaka forms, like the reasoning, we should know how to reason it out. Then purana pratyanta is just a basic understanding. Does anyone have any questions on what we've done so far? Etavat kimapi prashnaha asti va? Etavat vayam yat patitavantaha? Na? So idanim shanti mantra muktva gacchamaha. Agre kakshayam milamaha. Kshamyatam antarjala kleshaha asit. Hopefully next time it will be better, the internet, and it should be okay. So the griha karyam for this week will basically have one anvaya rachana, and it will have akarmaka, sakarmaka, dvikarmaka formations, finding out the formations or using it in sentences. If you have any questions, put it on the signal group. Okay, I'll put the quiz on the signal group as well after this.
धन्यवादः.
प्रश्नाः न सन्ति चेत् इदानीं विजयसुन्दर महोदय भवान् वदति वा शान्तिमन्त्रम्?
पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः.
हरि ओम धन्यवादः. पुनर्मिलामः.
धन्यवादः.